Guys, we're going to jump to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a really neat product, actually, that's on sale for Father's Day, something if you're still looking for that perfect Father's Day gift outside of coming to L.E.P.D. and purchasing all that stuff, GUNTRACK. So we're going to talk to the owner and founder of that. We're on Target broadcasting live from the studios of L.E.P.D. Firearms Range. We'll be back right after the break. You know, guys, it is always so good to talk to the congressman.
Oh, it
you
is.
know what? I mean, it's like we have known him for years, but it's like we've known him for a lot of years. I mean, he's just one of those down to earth guys who comes and sits with us, and just like you and me, Chuck.
Probably hung up the phone and went, man, that Chuck guy's a blowhard. You know.
No, absolutely not. Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the L.E.P.D. studios. I got little Chuck Douglas sitting to my right. I got Grandpa Creel. Grandpa Creel to my left, who's just off of 1 week of being a grandfather here.
Right. Actually, at 7 o'clock tonight, it'll be 1 week.
Yes,
but little Sutton is doing fine.
Yep.
So.
Guys, you know, if you've been more than a casual owner of firearms, you've probably been like me when trying to organize a log of your firearms and accessories. You know, where did I purchase when, and you know, how much did I pay for that? And for me, my log of firearms that I started, over 20 years ago now, kind of crudely in an Excel spreadsheet. I use it not only to see who I sold it to and what came with it, but I also use it as an indicator on which ones I have historical letters on or any other significance about that firearm that I want to make sure I don't forget.
Well, your log has probably turned into a forest.
It is a small forest.
I
didn't realize Excel you could put that many different tabs in it.
Keeps going and going and going.
I have done this now for Dad and I for a number of years, and you know, I can kind of crudely put a picture in there. But I ran across a product a couple years ago, and actually had talked to the founder of this product at that time. The product was called GUNTRACK, and it is a wonderful method of software, I guess, if you will, of keeping track of everything that I've kind of done crudely all these years. So we thought, what better time to bring him in and talk about the product and some of the benefits of it than the founder himself, Mr. Lynn Morales. Welcome to On Target, sir.
Hey, thank you, Eric. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. You know, I love your product. It's so neat. It's so intuitive, and I think people need to know about it. I mean, if you are a collector of any sort and you want to organize your firearms, keep track of maybe how many rounds you have in that particular gun or any of that, to be able to do it at your fingertips like this and be able to access and query on things, it's just wonderful. Tell us a little bit about the product and how you got here.
Sure. Well, it started about 3 years ago. It started as really a labor of love of mine because I have been collecting for many, many years using a spreadsheet like yourself. And we all have come across, if you use a spreadsheet long enough, it becomes very convoluted and messy, and it's often not updated correctly. I never kept mine up to date. And then most of the time when you're doing maintenance or you're doing any kind of upgrade to any piece that you own, you don't have your computer with you. So you're either translating that information back and forth from your shop or wherever you're doing your maintenance. So I came up with the idea, being in IT for several years, why not have a very simple way to keep track when I'm in the shop or I'm at the store buying ammo, or if I'm, at a gun show, I know what holster I need for whatever particular piece, or, you're not buying the same thing or duplicates of the same thing. So it came to me that we really need a very just easy way that you can manage this information. You can record it, you can view it, and you can, keep it secure. So that's how the initial app started. And it was also, I was in a gun shop one day buying a very reputable gun shop here in Arizona, and he said, take a photograph of your receipt because over time the thermal paper will fade. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's, kind of absurd that these records that are very important, especially if you have anything insured, you have to show proof of ownership, that the records would fade. So that was the second really critical idea that gave me the idea to go ahead and build something that would be a little better than the traditional means of recording your information.
And Lynn, it wasn't like, you've built a career on building websites and software and so forth. It wasn't like you were, kind of a person like me who doesn't really know much about, I mean, you had the knowledge and the basis to do this the right way. And I think that's why the product has turned out so great.
Oh, I appreciate that, Eric. Thank you. But yeah, being in IT for over 25 years, I've worked on a lot of larger enterprise level applications for various, Fortune 500, 100 companies. And I've seen firsthand how some of these projects, they get very disorganized. A lot of times cloud products get compromised due to the fact that you have so many hands in the pot and you have so many different administrators, so to speak, and these passwords, they become very relaxed just because they're developing and they're getting in and out of the system. And oftentimes it's not even a hacker that's really placing too much effort into getting in. It's just relaxed passwords that they're easily able to compromise. So GUNTRACK, when we started it, it's been just myself and a couple of guys that have helped me through the years, but we've been very strict with our access policies, and I firsthand have seen relaxed passwords get compromised very easily. So yeah, I've taken the approach of kind of the best of practice when developing out the application, and now the newest software is even more enhanced, and the security behind it is just insane. It's terribly difficult. We don't keep any passwords from the user. When you set it up, you set the only password that will access and decrypt your 250-bit encryption on your whole inventory, and it's all within your physical presence because it's on your computer. So it's almost impossible to hack. I mean, even the strongest computer out there would probably take 1,000 years to crack the decryption on it. They're going to get through. They're going to get through a weak password that you apply upon install.
And Lynn, it's so, and we're talking to Lynn Morales, the founder of GUNTRACK, and that's a great point you brought up, because John and I were talking before the show and actually last night. And security, firearm owners tend to be a little bit like myself, a little bit suspect and very worried about your information getting out there. Especially here's the list of guns that I own. But when you go through your website and I think you even have a patent on some of this security, if I'm not correct, or if I'm...
Yeah, it's not necessarily the security, but it is a system and method for publishing in the cloud, and it does encompass some security components, and it's really a process to record, manage, and view in a way that's really never been done, and it does promote a more secure environment. And the way it handles the information, and the way it sends the information to the cloud, and then the way you retrieve it, and you have certain components like expiring, something that you share with somebody. You can set a self-destruct timer that will actually delete it automatically off of the server, so that shared file that gets sent to somebody is sitting in a unique way on a link that will only last until you set that date of expiration, and when it expires, it completely wipes out any backup or any evidence of that file on the physical server itself. So it does promote security in a way, but in terms of the algorithms, we're using 256-bit encryption, which is AES 256-bit. It's military-grade encryption. That really hasn't been changed a whole lot since the invention of it, and it's pretty much kind of the industry standard right now for encryption, the strongest you can, really get in a software environment.
Well, Lynn, we're down to about a minute or so left. If for those who don't want to have it backed up to the cloud, there is a version of the software, right, that it resides on your computer, if I remember correctly?
Yes, that is correct.
There is an option.
That would not be as secure.
The software is installed on your local computer, and you are the only one who has access to the password to that information, the inventory that will decrypt the database. So it literally creates a situation where you are in total control of your data that's sitting on your computer, and you're responsible for backups. So you can I built a tool in the software that you can back up to a thumb drive, and then you can stick that thumb drive in your safe. And in the event that your computer gets destroyed or stolen, you can be up and running with your backup copy. All you have to do is reinstall the software, and you're up and running with your backup. So yes, I want to eventually get to the point where you are in total control of all of your data. And a lot of the web users and the the mobile users still are perfectly okay with having this information in the cloud, which is fine because we are taking very strict security stances on that information in the cloud. But there are still traditional people like myself and a lot of other people that just like to have their data in their physical presence, and I think that's perfectly a really logical stance to take, especially with this type of information.
Right. So, as a final note, I've been following you for a long time now, actually the last 3 years. I rarely see any sales or anything, but I did, what perked my interest here, you do have a Father's Day sale going on. Is that correct?
Yes. For the first time, we're doing 25% off of a lifetime, whatever length of you subscribe on the yearly subscriptions, and they start at $39, and the enthusiast plan is at $99, and that will cover you up to 100 firearms. And then we have a pro operator package that is unlimited at $149. So you would get 25% off of those published rates for the lifetime of the subscription.
Wonderful. That is great. And how do they get to that, Lynn?
They would just go to GUNTRACK.app. That's GUNTRACK.app.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to jump on with us. Definitely a worthwhile project to go out there and check it out. John and I have been looking at it all morning. Guys, thanks for spending the last hour with us. Next week, we're going to talk about traveling with your firearm this summer months.
Is that by train under the ocean?
It's by train, by plane, by car, John. However you choose. We're going to talk a little bit about how to do that safely and legally. Thanks as always. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Stop by and see us. And after you see us tomorrow, go over and see our friends over at Barclays on Federated Boulevard.
Perfect.
Guys, and that always, let's be careful out there.